Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. I will call to order the Board of Franklin County Commissioners meeting.
Commissioner Howard?
Present.
Vice Chair Renaud?
Present.
Chair Waymeyer?
Present.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Present.
Commissioner Dunn?
Present.
If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, there's so many needs in this community, so many opportunities to help people. Help us to listen so that we can be helpful for you in this world, in our community. Bless our commissioners and bless our community leaders as we do your work and will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Right, that brings us to correspondence and organizational business. We have a proclamation, but do we have anything from the administration's office? Nope. All right. Our proclamation today is in support of April as a Child Abuse and Sexual Assault Prevention Awareness Month. Do we have anyone here who'd like to stand up and speak? I'd be happy to read the proclamation, but it's okay.
I'm Jennifer Woolsey. Good morning. I'm Jennifer Woolsey. I'm with CASA. And so, of course, April is National Child Abuse Awareness as well as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. And this month we're super excited because several agencies are coming together. This is the first time we're going to be doing this, but we're holding a free community picnic in the park. It's going to be April 15th. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The focus of that is to bring the community together to enjoy some family time while also coming together to support prevention against abuse in general, and that we need to bring awareness to the community that it does occur in Franklin County, but again, to just show that stand that we're all together to prevent that. And so, again, that's going to be involving CASA, the Sexual Assault Trauma Center, so the CARE Center, BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse, it's KVC, and also the Willow Domestic Violence Center. So again, this month is just super important nationwide, just again promoting awareness, but more importantly, just continuing to support that prevention.
All right, fantastic.
Thank you.
I'll read the proclamation here. We'll vote on it, and then I think the clerk has a copy that you can take with you. The proclamation reads, whereas the County of Franklin County, Kansas prides itself on giving back to the community, contributing to the quality of life among our citizens, and whereas CASA of the 4th Judicial District and its volunteers represent for the best interests of abused and neglected children who are involved in the juvenile courts, and whereas there are many children in Franklin County who suffer from some form of abuse or neglect each year, and whereas through a national effort, members of the Franklin County community are encouraged to join together in the month of April to raise awareness for these children who are victims of abuse and neglect. And whereas the Sexual Trauma and Abuse Care Center promotes a culture of consent and provides support to anyone affected by sexual trauma. And whereas this effort and promoting awareness of the neglected and abused will give abused and neglected children in our community and around the country a chance for a safe and positive future. Now, therefore, the Board of Franklin County, Kansas does hereby proclaim April 2017 as Franklin County Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Sign this 5th day of April 2017. If there's a motion, second.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes.
Just got one question. What park is the picnic?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. It's actually at City Park.
City Park?
Yeah, we're hoping that it'll be loud enough for everybody to want to come and participate. So
What's the times?
it's going to be 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we're going to have music, live music, entertainment, free food. It's a carnival style, so there'll be a lot of carnival games for the kids, just a lot of things going on. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks for everything you do. All right, that brings us to public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment today?
No.
Consent agenda today would include considering approving minutes from our March 29th meeting and our study session on April 3rd. Claim vouchers in the amount of $562,000, 532 3 cents. And we have no tax change orders, is that correct? And no payroll. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. All right, our first item of business is consider approving the replacement of 2 air conditioning units at this building, the county annex. This is something we discussed Monday at our study session. Is Paul here, or?
Paul is not here. He's out on personal business. As you alluded to, Colt, this was discussed Monday. What you'll find attached are the quotes from Adamson for the replacement of the HVAC system itself. And then there's another quote from Performance for the necessary electrical work because we are upgrading from a 5 to a 7 ton. So provided you don't have any questions, I would look for a motion to approve this.
All right, this would come out of the annex fund, which is revenue from the lease of suites in this building. Is there a motion to approve this item as stated on the agenda?
Make a motion to approve this purchase, 2 air conditioners.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. Item number 2 is regarding the remount of a medic ambulance, and Nick Robbins, our EMS director, is here to elaborate.
Good morning, Commission.
Morning.
What I'm here today is talk about remounting Medic 4. Medic 4 on our replacement schedule was supposed to have been remounted last year. With the increasing issues of Medic 6, which was a Chevy chassis ambulance, we swapped them last year, so this one's due. It's got 152,000 miles on it. We're starting to see the wear and tear in the cab, starting to push the mileage limits. Got a hold of Lifeline for a price quote. The price quote they gave me was $119,246. I have, since preparing this, talked to him a little more and told him last time we did one with $112,000, so I wanted to know why we had such an increase. With that, the new electrical systems, that kind of stuff, the remount factory has increased everything about $5,000 to $6,000. So a new truck went from about $160,000 to $170,000. Everything has went up. I did get them to give us $500 off of that. So the actual quote for remounting this truck is $118,744. And I have copies of it if you all would like those. But the new quote will be $118,744. Just like I said, this is customary. We put it in the replacement schedule. We knew last year we were putting it on this one. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I will tell you, by doing this one with the savings, we are at over $200,000 savings by doing the remounts versus purchasing new, and that's what we were hoping for when we started the remount program. So at the end, also, this will take all of our diesel except for the Sprinter out, and everything will be gas after this one's remounted. So it will be remounted on a gas E450 chassis. Any questions for me on that I can answer?
Pretty straightforward. This is paid for out of the ambulance equipment fund, which is from revenue generated from the operations of the ambulance department, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, Nick, what's the life of the chassis and the motor? What's the life of that?
What's that, sir?
What's the life of the chassis and the motor?
is what we look at, and with our diesels, we were looking at about 125 to 130,000 miles is what our life is that we put on them. With the gas, we're playing on 120,000, so that gives you the idea on the life of what, is that what you asked, what the life of the chassis was?
No, you do a remount, then you put it on the same
Oh, yeah, I'm
chassis
sorry.
in the motor. I
I
mean, how
got
long,
nice stuff just
how long
today.
the other part, how long does the other part last?
It'll be put on a new Ford chassis, is that?
I guess I don't understand either.
How long, he's wanting to know how long does the box that you're remounting, how many remounts could you get out
Oh,
of
we
it?
can
or-
go,
box.
there's up to 1 million miles on a box, so my goal is we're not gonna be purchasing boxes for quite a while, we'll just keep remounting them. We've got the configuration the exact same in those trucks, so Lifeline's got 1 million miles on a box and that they've remounted, and that's 4 to 5 remounts, depending on where you're at and what's going on, so. This will be the first round of remounts on all of our trucks, so we still have, I think, quite a few more remounts before we have to even look at doing anything. The next truck will be for status versus anything else, so
Sure.
I plan this program to continue throughout.
Ought to save us a lot of money. All right, is there a motion to approve scheduling the remount of Medic 4?
Make a motion, we approve the scheduled remount of Medic 4.
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes.
Thank you, Commission.
Thank you, Nick. Third item of business is a rezoning application, and Larry Walrod, our planning and building director, is here to fill us in on the details.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Good morning, Larry.
The first item I have this morning will be the consideration for the rezoning for the Leach family. This is a matter that was on the Planning Commission's agenda starting in December, but was continued a number of times to allow them the opportunity to comply with one of the requirements out of our comprehensive plan as well as our zoning regulations, that when you're rezoning properties that are less than 20 acres in size, they must be able to provide an adequate potable water supply. In this case, they are requesting to rezone from A2, which is the agricultural zone, a 20-acre tract, to allow the division of 5 acres of that with the existing home, and the remainder then to be purchased by a family member for the construction of a new home. They have been able to contact a well driller that has indicated there is adequate groundwater to meet the domestic needs, and therefore the Planning Commission has forwarded a recommendation to you for the approval of the rezoning of this property from A2 to a RE residential estate. This is a property that's not within a structured rural water district, so about the only opportunity they have at this point in time is to get a groundwater supply, a well.
All right. Is there any questions for Larry or a motion to approve the rezoning application?
Larry, do they have to have an actual well established before they can get a building permit?
That was the big delay, was trying to get a well digger out there to identify the overall capabilities, and they were successful in getting an adequate supply to meet the domestic needs.
So they did dig a hole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is essentially 5 gallon a minute. That's the very minimum that would be supporting domestic purposes for most residential developments.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve the rezoning application 1610-4331 Leach.
Second.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. Our fourth item of business is also a rezoning application. I'll send it back to Larry.
This is a request by the Shapers, Larry and Betty Shaper, to rezone some properties that are currently in the A1 zoning district to the A2 zoning district. I think many of you are familiar that this is where their RV park is. They also have a single-family home that's on a part of this property, and an additional property that they acquired that's adjacent to the I-35 Idaho Road interchange. That was a 10-acre tract. The new buyer is buying the area that's within the area designated in the aerial photo for the aerial photo, the RV park, as well as the triangular piece associated with that that's near the I-35 off ramp onto Idaho. It is shown on the aerial photo as a part of your staff report. They are going to be selling those as a single tract of land, so it will be rezoned from RE, which is presently the zoning, to an A2 zone because it's going to be 20 acres in size. And the remainder then is going to be less than the 44, so it's going to go to the A2 zoning district also. They do have an adequate water supply. They do meet the sanitation requirements. And the Planning Commission has forwarded a recommendation to you for the approval of the rezoning from the RE and the A1 to the A2 zoning district.
So the RV park can operate under A2 designation?
Yes.
Agriculture, okay.
By special use permit, they would be allowed in that zoning district.
Makes sense.
And they do have a special use permit. You may recall that that was one of the older use permits that was under the Essex. It was an existing business just prior to the zoning being established for that district. So it had an Essex permit designation. Was approved quite a number of years ago.
Questions for Larry, or would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. Our fifth item of business is also a rezoning application. Go ahead, Larry.
This application was filed by two brothers. It's over in the Rantoul area on Vermont at the top of the hill. They're requesting to divide approximately 5 1/4 acres out of an 80-acre tract. The rezoning, of course, for that would be going from an A1 to the RE residential estate zone. We have the Planning Commission review this and make the necessary findings to support the rezoning from A1 to the RE to allow the sale of the 5 acres together with the existing home. It's currently located on that particular property. The Planning Commission held their hearing in March of this year and unanimously approved the rezoning and have recommended that you adopt a resolution approving the rezoning and directing staff to modify our zoning maps accordingly.
Any questions for Larry? Is there a motion to approve this rezoning application 1702-1456?
Make the motion, we approve that.
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. Sixth item of business is a special use permit. Larry will fill us in on the details.
We have a request for the special use permit for the construction of a 300-foot tower. This is actually a replacement tower for Kansas City Fire and Light. This is located out in the Williamsburg area. That tower was constructed prior to zoning and building codes here in Franklin County, and particularly for that particular township. They are going to replace a guide tower with a freestanding structural tower that's a little higher than the existing tower that presently exists on the site. But again, the construction of that tower never followed any zoning regulations because they weren't enforced in effect. And today, we require a special use permit for the construction of these types of facilities. So the Kansas City Fire and Light have made the application in compliance with our zoning regulations for the special use permit. The Planning Commission considered this at their March meeting also and have recommended that you approve this subject to the conditions that are set forth in the resolution that's presented in your packet. I have nothing further to add. Didn't see anyone here from Kansas City Fire and Light this morning, but this was a unanimous decision by the Planning Commission, and we really didn't have anyone up here that was opposed to the special use permit.
All right. Questions for Larry? Somebody like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve special use permit 1702-1457.
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yeah.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. Next item of business is a rezoning application that appears to be related to the special use permit.
Again, this is a request filed by Kansas City Fire and Light for the rezoning, approximately 5 acres. Kansas City Fire and Light, similar to what you just considered, did acquire these properties, both the one south of Williamsburg and the one out south and east of town, that were acquired prior to the adoption of our zoning and building codes. And now they want to upgrade that tower also. But unfortunately, it was put into a zone because of the size of the tract of land that is not a zone that would allow the construction or placement of communication towers. So we have to go through an extra step here to process the rezoning this back to the agricultural zoning district, which does, by special use permit, allow placement or construction of communication towers. When the zoning was originally adopted, the county map adopted, it was based on the size of tracts of land that were designated in the county appraiser's maps. And this was a 5-acre tract, and consequently it got rezoned to the RE residential estate zone based on the fact that it was essentially 5 acres in size. There wasn't an inventory made of what was existing on a lot of these at that time. We had the same situation a few years ago on Pork Chop Hill, where the county wanted to place a communication tower on the site that was owned by the Rural Water District. The Rural Water District had a tower there, but it was only a 1-acre site. And we had a legal challenge on the ability then to go through in that zoning district and approve a special use permit when the property itself did not, and the zoning for that property did not comply with the requirements of our zoning regs. So again, this is a situation where the zoning was done without really giving full consideration to what was currently existing on the site. That being said, the Planning Commission again has considered the rezoning for this together with the use permit which will follow this matter, and have recommended that the county commissioners approve the rezoning to the A1 zoning district, which will allow for the application then and consideration of the following item that's on your agenda. I have nothing further to add, other than the fact that there were a number of people that were notified, and we did not have anyone that appeared at the public hearing that was opposed to the reconstruction of the tower. That will be discussed in your following item.
So to clarify, the tower before is the corner of Kingman and Ohio Road,
This is the one that's there.
and this rezoning applications for,
The rezoning is for the one at Ohio and Kingman.
as well, so, okay.
The other one, I think, was located on Colorado, south of Williamsburg.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Who was the motion?
1 and
Oh.
2.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymer?
Yes. All right. Brings us to our 8th item of business, which is a special use permit for Kansas City Power and Light.
This is on the site that you just considered for rezoning. Again, it's an upgrade of the existing tower. In this case, however, they're going to be, in addition to removing the tower that's there, which is a guide wire, this will be a freestanding tower, but it will only be in the area of 190 feet, I think, or something of that nature, 199 feet. It's a reduction to some of the tower sites that we've seen in other areas. So the notice that was sent to the surrounding property owners did not bring anyone to the hearing that was opposed to this. In fact, most of them, the only person that was there really supported the approval of this special use permit. So the Planning Commission, again, has made a recommendation to the county commissioners to approve the replacement of this existing tower with the one that's proposed, subject to the, I think, 9 conditions that are attached as a part of the resolution as part of your staff report.
Larry, the initial says 199, I think. But when you get into the actual cover sheet, it says 300.
Yes, but at the hearing, they reduced that to 199 feet because their engineers had done a further study and determined that they did not need a 300-foot tower, but only 199, so that's why the resolution was written that way. We could go lesser. We couldn't have gone to 490 feet or whatever, but we could go lesser than the 3 that was advertised.
Any other questions for Larry? A motion to approve special use permit application number 1702-1459.
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard? Chair Waymer?
Yes. 9th item of business is consider approving a rezoning application.
Again, this is a somewhat unusual request. The parcel that's being generated here doesn't really satisfy the total area required for the zone that they are requesting. The R3A zone is a minimum of 3 acres. It was done primarily for residential subdivisions. However, this is a unique situation in that it is the site that's being requested for rezoning is an existing family cemetery. Been there a number of years. The new buyer doesn't want to be responsible for that cemetery, so they want to divide that out separately and when they're acquiring the remainder of that property. In order to do that, before I can prove a lot split for it, it's got to be rezoned to something lesser than the 40 acres that would be required for the A1 zone. So while it doesn't comply completely with the minimum requirements for the zoning district, again, it's a situation where we have a number of these cemeteries, church sites, and other things, school district sites that are less than the 3 acres. And we feel that that would be consistent with the overall purpose and intent of our zoning regulations. And therefore, the Planning Commission at their hearing, also in March of this year, has taken an action forwarding a recommendation to you for the approval of the rezoning from the A1 to the R3A for this, I think it's about 1.5 acres or something like that.
The family retain ownership and care of it, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I say, it's an existing old family cemetery. I think most of you are well aware of where it is. It's right across from the entrance to the RV park that we just discussed earlier this morning on Idaho Road.
All right, yep. Questions for Larry? I believe we've discussed this before. Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve 1702-1460.
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. All right. Item number 10 is a consideration of a special use permit application for Bettis Asphalt. And go ahead, Larry.
The Planning Commission held their hearing on this matter and their meeting on March 17th of this year. After reviewing all the testimony that was presented along with the staff report and its recommendation, they have forwarded a recommendation to the county commissioners for the approval, subject to the 19 conditions that are attached as a part of their recommendation to the county commissioners. I think most of you recall that there was another hearing held the previous month by the Planning Commission on a different location for the same essential use. That was also a rezoning and a special use permit on East 15th Street at the intersection of 15th and I-35. The Planning Commission has made forwarded to you a motion for the denial of the rezoning and the special use permit
On that location.
on that location. But after considering this location, the Planning Commission has recommended the approval of this facility in the A1 zone, which it's a property that's currently owned by the county. It was approved by the city a few years ago for the expansion and of the landfill operations as far as it's involved with the C&D landfill. We did not get the permits from the state at this point in time, but the property has not been used for anything other than limited agriculture, and I think some material being borrowed off of that site to cover the C&D from time to time that's currently located on the north side of Osborne Terrace. Again, I would have nothing further to add. I think most of you are aware of the issues that were associated with both sites. We feel that this site has satisfied and it has had the favorable recommendation of the city, who had objections to the location of the previously discussed site. And we feel that it would meet the needs of both the applicant and serve as a welcome addition here to Franklin County.
All right. With that, I believe we have an applicant presentation. Larry will get a well-deserved break.
Good morning. My name is Rich Eckert, and I'm with Bettis Asphalt. I have with me Cole Anderson, also with Bettis. Cole wears many hats for Bettis, but he's our safety engineer and he's our site consultant expert. And if your questions get too technical, he's going to help me out here. So With that being said, we won a project with KDOT on Highway 68, and that brought our attention to this area of the state. And once we got here, we decided we kind of like it here, and we'd like to have more of a permanent presence. So we started looking for a place to put an asphalt plant. And as you know, we found one site, but that didn't work out. But we think we found an even better site with the help of some local citizens and with Larry's help. So that's what we're here today, is for this site that we think is even better. So with that being said, we're going to do just a real quick presentation of what we do, and please interrupt me at any time if you have any questions. But like I said, there's just a map of the proposed site. This is a picture of what a typical asphalt plant looks like. It's going to be very similar to what you'll see when we're done and get this up and running. Here's some of the benefits that we're going to bring to your community. In sales tax alone, we're going to generate between $30,000 and $40,000 per year. We're going to have 5 jobs on site, and we think we're going to create another 20 to 30 jobs for trucking. Some of those trucking jobs will be independents, and some of them will be one of our in-house companies, but these will be new positions into your community. We think that the payroll of all those jobs will be over $1 million. And of course, that money also will be spent in your community as a multiplier effect, as I'm sure you've heard your Chamber of Commerce talk about before. So that will just continue. One of the things that, quite frankly, nobody wants to live next to an asphalt plant. And one of the reasons why is that we all have the pictures of in our head of what old asphalt plants were like. Well, this is not one of those old asphalt plants that just spew. We have new, it's called baghouse technology. And this captures the particulate that makes up that pollution that you remember from the past. And this new technology erases 99.9% of that. It captures that particulate and shoots it right back into the asphalt. So it really has cut down. Now, if you go by it when it's actually in operation, you will see smoke coming off there. That's actually steam. Okay, that'll be steam vapor coming off that. That will not be pollution. We do have to have a permit from KDHE. They'll come out and inspect. So we'll be at all times in. Will be in compliance with the KDHE guidelines. Again, the odor is another issue. Here, the mixing of the asphalt is actually going to be about 30 feet above the ground. And then, of course, we're going to locate this plant kind of in the middle of that little tract. So by the time that it gets to the boundaries, it's going to be pretty much dissipated. The one time that you might smell it is when we're actually loading asphalt into one of the trucks, because that happens at ground level, and of course it'll be exposed just very shortly as it's going into the truck. But again, particularly the site, this is one of the reasons we like this site better. There's not a whole lot around us, so we don't think that's going to be an issue. If it is an issue, if you do get complaints, and of course I'm hoping that if anyone complains to you, if anybody complains to Larry, you immediately call us. We do have a chemical that we can add that helps knock down that odor. So it's an environmental safe substance, and if we have to use it, we certainly can. Again, stormwater will be regulated by both the KDHE and the EPA. The EPA has an enforcement mechanism of the KDHE permit, which is kind of confusing, but they do enforce that. So everything that we do there, we'll have drawn out and submitted to KDHE, and all of that will be taken care of. Even if there's a spill, I want to point this out, even if there's some sort of spill, what would be spilling on the ground would be this asphalt cement oil, which is meant to go on the ground. So it's not like we're going to have chemicals that'll be hurting the environment or anything like that. This is actually all we'll be doing there is asphalt. So. And then, of course, this is what we're asking. We're asking for the special use permit. So if you have any questions, I'd certainly be happy to try to answer them.
Your projected 1 million payroll over what period of time?
That's per year.
Per year, okay. It's an annual, okay. Where will the materials to create the asphalt come from?
Well, and Cole, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the aggregate will come from local quarries. And so they'll be trucked in as part of those trucking jobs that will be created. The aggregate will be trucked in from local quarries. And as a matter of fact, we might have a further conversation with you about another quarry down the road here later this year. But, so that's where the aggregate comes from.
Have you ever, and what my concern is, there's a quarry just off of 68 Highway on a mile of gravel road. Have you guys ever put down dust control or anything in situations like that, or been asked to do that?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
We've done it. We haven't done anything to the side to the south.
Well, that particular rock quarry is a mile of gravel, and there's probably 6 to 8 residences on that mile. And I know that if we all of a sudden that's where a lot of trucking comes from, that would be a concern that I would have, and just wanted to see how you might address such a concern.
Well, certainly just let us know. I don't think we'll have to do anything for the next couple of weeks. But certainly let us know.
Okay.
We had told Larry last month that we'd have a bulldozer ready to go later today, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
The sales tax, I gotta imagine most all of the sales would be to government agencies which are exempt, and if you did sell to another contractor, they're almost always registered to collect sales tax themselves, so that transaction wouldn't, between you and the contractor, wouldn't generate sales tax. Where,
Well, one of the reasons we're putting this plant here is because we think there will be a lot of private sales. And you're right, selling to KDOT is tax-free, but if it was just government, we probably wouldn't be putting a plant here. But we're hopeful that your market's going to generate, your Walmart parking lot's going to have to be repaved at some point in time. The Applebee's parking lot's going to have to be repaved at some time. So we think there's enough of a market for that we're here. We want to be here.
$350,000 is about what you're estimating, I guess, based on those sales tax collections?
Yeah. Might take us a year or two to ramp up to that, but we think we can get there.
All right. Any questions, any more questions to the applicants?
I think one of our concerns was the breakdown of county roads. How do you monitor overloading the asphalt trucks when they're leaving the plant as far as overload?
When the trucks are underneath the silo, they're underneath the scale. And I mean, we strictly will not overload any truck. I mean, just because the DOT regulations alone, overload tickets are very expensive.
You batch by weight also, don't you?
Yes.
Any other questions? Somebody like to make a motion to approve the special use permit application?
I'll make the motion that we approve the special use permit application 1702-1461 to Bettis Asphalt and Construction.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. All right, our next item of business. Oh, you do have one more. All right, go ahead, Larry.
Somewhat related matter. As I indicated a little earlier, the planning commission has already given consideration to the alternative site. And that matter has never been brought to the county commissioners for your final action. We have a letter from the Bettis Company requesting that the county accept their letter withdrawing that previous applications, the rezoning and the special use permit, and we would ask you to approve that so we have official closure on those matters that were previously heard by the planning commission out on the site at 15th Street.
All right, so you need a motion to accept the withdrawal of the rezoning and special use permit application from Bettis
Yes.
Asphalt. Is there a motion to that extent?
I make a motion that we accept that letter of withdrawal.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Larry. All right. Next item of business is a real estate lease with Bettis Asphalt pertaining to the operation of the asphalt plan on the county-owned property we just approved the special use permit for, and I believe Derek will fill us in on the details.
Yeah, this obviously accompanies the last item. We discussed this lease at Monday's study session. However, there are a few changes to that lease. First and foremost, obviously, we have agreed, or we have at least put into this lease a payment amount. Bettis has agreed to pay $11,000 a year, which is over $100 an acre per month. However, the rate of increase each year has dropped from 1.5% to 1%. So they're willing to pay $11,000 a year, provided that it only increase by 1% each year moving forward. Another stipulation of theirs was that we tack on a 7-year option. And so what that means is at the end of the 15-year initial term, at their discretion, they will have the option of extending it for an automatic 7 years. It's helpful to keep in mind that we're talking about roughly 9 acres. So that is approximately a quarter of that parcel that is across from the landfill. So if in 20 years we need more room for our landfill, we're still going to have north of 30 acres south of Osborne Terrace that we can use for that purpose. So those are the only changes to the lease. If you have any questions for me about that, certainly I'm here to answer them. I think Cole and Rich are more than willing to speak on Bettis's behalf as well. So.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say this has been a fairly drawn-out process with everything we went through, and I just want to say I think Bettis has been very good to work with us through this, and you know, you could have become upset with the way some of it went down, and you didn't. You just continued to work with us and try to come to the best solution, and appreciate that.
I agree. 15 years, though, is already a pretty long term for locating a plant like this, and I guess if they're confident in you know, their ability to work with everyone and maintain a good site, and I guess the 7 years, I don't like the idea of being locked into another 7, and not having the option to, you know, if we also had an option to terminate at that time, I would, you know, I'd be open to talking to them at that point, but to essentially extend it to 22-year lease, it's probably more than I'm comfortable with. The other terms, though, I think are fair.
Well, my concern was that if we go to that extra 7 years, we're locked into that 1%. And that, I don't know what the economy will be like at all in that amount of time. It very well could be that, hey, if it goes down, you know, but they're going to pull out. But at the same time, it could be something that there's not an option to at least look at possibly a different financial cost on that.
The reason the time is so important is because these plants are tremendously expensive, and we have to have a chance to get that capital back. What we'd be willing to do, and I hear what you're saying on that, if we can still have the option to extend for the 7 years, we would be willing to open up discussions about the financial situation.
That would be renegotiated too, possibly.
Yeah.
I guess.
And that really turns it into a mutual option for both of us.
It's all kind of, wait a minute, we got you over the barrel there. If we say, well,
Yeah,
this is it. But
we're giving up something pretty significant here, but we think in 15 years you'll be so used to us that
I won't be sitting on this board in 15 years. I can
yeah,
tell
there's
you
a good
that.
chance I won't be here
Who
either.
that board would be, but
Oh, and the other thing to keep in mind is the special use permit will, provided that they don't abandon it, will be in effect in 15 years.
Sure.
It will be in effect in 18 and 22 years. And so with regard to them, I guess being good neighbors, so to speak, if they're not, then we'll pull their special use permit and they'll be gone anyway. And I think they understand that. So
But if
the
you were renting-
safeguards are in place to ensure that
Even
they
if they are, I mean, it's possible that, who knows what 15 years is gonna look like out there. I doubt anyone's gonna build a housing development next to a landfill. I agree with that, but, I mean, for reasons unknown to us, it just may not, in 22 years, even be use that we want right there. I mean, we may have capped the landfill, turned it into a park, and not even deal with debris out there.
And Chair Waymeyer, I want you to know that I'm not arguing with you here. I'm
Sure,
just
no,
making
no, I
sure
agree.
that you all understand how this works.
And my concern is that I'm entering into a lease for 22 years at 1%, and I'm thinking, what financial person says I'm willing to lease my property to somebody at that rate for that long a period of time, knowing, or not knowing, what the situation may be or demand. At that time, it may be the greatest deal in the world, or we may have you hooked, you financially, you'd have to bail out. I don't know. That's all. And if he's willing to negotiate it that some way, that's fine. I don't know. I can live with the, like you said, the special use permit's a special use permit, but that's the only concern I have with the changes we've made. I'm just expressing my opinion on that.
Well, there's nothing more I like to do than draft on the fly, but if it's okay with Derek, we could put in there on that sentence, upon expiration of the term, Bettis and county shall have the option. And that would cause us to have to negotiate, which would cause us to talk about the financials. Those two words would do it. And like Derek said, I think the special use permit's capped at 15 years, right?
I thought it was, too.
We'd have to come back here anyway. We're going to be here.
So what does the 7-year do for you, if anything? Then why would it even be in there?
It gives us that long-term assurance. Again, these are rather hard to do. I mean, we don't win a lot of these. I say win, that's how we look at it. But we view this as a win-win for both us and the community. But asphalt plants and transfer stations and C&D landfills, they're hard to put in. They're just hard for county commissions to do. So when we get to this point, it's nice to be able to have some assurance that we can get that capital investment back.
I mean, if it's a hollow legal mechanism, I just don't see why.
Well, and I think, I think you're spot on, Colt. I think if it says Bettis and county shall have the option, then I would interpret that to mean that you guys have to approve of it, and if you have to approve of it, then it's not really an option. Now, if Bettis is willing to do that, then that would make it subject to your approval at the expiration of 15 years, and so that's something to keep in mind.
I just wonder if it'd be cleaner if we got rid of it. But
Yeah.
Well, and quite frankly, when we're negotiating at that point, even the 7 is up for grabs. I mean, if we're going to have to do an SUP, we'd probably ask for another 15.
Well, and I guess, given that the SUP is going to expire, I guess I would encourage you to consider just removing the option language, because you're going to have to come back anyway on the SUP. And so this lease is nothing without the SUP, so why don't we just agree at that time in 15 years?
I guess that's where I am. Either why is it there, or what am I not seeing? Those are the
Right,
two. Going through my head, to be honest.
Well, we'd rather leave here today with a lease than without one.
Well, we've gone from the 1.5% to 1%, and I think that's, and I think Rick hit it on the head. It's a win-win, and if it's doing good, I can't imagine why that would not continue, or that board, something major changes, but I can live with that.
Let's just strike the sentence and sign the lease.
All right, then.
Colt, when you ask for a motion, I want you to make sure that it is to prove this lease
Absent the
subject to
7.
the removal of the 7-year option. And I can redraft the lease and get a clean copy to you, but
It'll be under
Actually,
that.
we're doing one sentence, right? Upon expiration of the term, Bettis shall have the option of extending this lease for an additional term of 7 years.
that is
That
correct.
one sentence, all is coming out.
It's not brought up anywhere else later in the document or referenced. All right.
Not everything else I see in there is.
You can move to strike the sentence and then motion to approve the amended lease.
Oh, yeah, we have to do it two separate motions or approve the amendment with that one exclusion?
It would be clean to do it that way.
All right, I can do that.
Sorry, Derek, didn't mean to jump on your parliamentarian.
Got a little bit of experience doing it.
I've done this a time or two.
You want two motions, though, you're saying?
Yeah, like I said, it's clean for the
Okay.
clerk to track it.
Before we make motions or anything, is there anybody, any other comments, questions, concerns we need to go over? Then we can move to the parliamentary procedural part of it.
I just know we're shooting in the dark as far as the rent for the lease, and I don't know if we had any more input as far as the value of the property as far as rent. I don't know if we had any more input on that since the last time we talked about it. Always talked about $1,000 a month, and now it's a little bit less, but percent's a little bit less too. So I don't know if everybody's comfortable with that.
I'm more than comfortable with this stuff. I think this is very fair.
Well, is there, I guess, first a motion, what's that?
Is there any public comment?
We don't have any public comment on anything today, do we? Okay, I didn't think so.
Just checking.
No, I appreciate that. That'd keep me out of trouble. So, we'd first ask for a motion to strike the sentence from the contract reading. Upon expiration of the term, Bettis shall have the option to extend this lease for an additional term of 7 years. That would be stricken from the contract. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to strike that sentence that Colt just read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. All right, is there a motion to approve the contract now that we've made the changes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the real estate lease contract with Bettis.
As amended.
As amended
amended.
with that one sentence being struck from the 5 pages, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes.
I want to thank you very much, but I also want to take this opportunity to thank Larry and Derek. They've been great to work with, and I wanted to make sure you know that. You got a couple good people there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
12th item of business is consider awarding a 2017 dust control contract to Scottwood Industries.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
You approved solicitation of bids on March 22nd, 2017. Scottwood Industries was the only bid received. The request is a motion awarding the bid to Scottwood Industries in the amount of $1.04 per gallon.
I got a question on this. I know this is what we've done ever since I've been here, where the landowner basically pays a percentage of the dust control for a certain distance in front of their homes or whatever.
$1.40 a foot for a minimum of 300 feet, or $420.
Okay, my thing is, out in my area, and I think Commissioner Renaud had brought up possibly in his area, we have a road that definitely needs to be taken care of this summer for dust control. And are we able to use this company for county purposes? If we have a county road that doesn't fall under the individuals, can we use it at this price to do one of our roads?
There's no limit of the amount
Understand
of,
where I'm coming from? I
there's
mean,
no limit to the amount of area that can be done under this.
so that could be a price to the county if we were to use it for a
Yes,
road
sir.
we want.
All right. Any other questions, or is there a motion to approve awarding the contract?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the contract to Scottwood for dust control services.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. 13th item of business. Considering enter into an agreement for economic development services with the City of Ottawa and FCDC. Derek, your name's on the bottom of this, so I'll turn it over to you.
This is another item that we discussed at Monday's study session. As you all are well aware, this is an agreement that we enter into every year, contributing to FCDC. There's nothing that has changed since Monday. To the extent any of you have questions, by all means ask. But this is nearly the exact agreement we entered into last year, save for date changes and the amount, so.
The amount increased.
I believe $365.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Derek? Do we need to hear from our FCDC director, or is everyone comfortable and want to make a motion to approve? All at once. Is there a motion to approve? Because the contract with county economic development and enter into the agreement with the City of Ottawa.
I think it'll make James sweat a little bit. I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Waymire?
Yes. That brings us to staff reports.
Couple of things. One, after our study session on the 17th, and we've discussed this before, I think that would be a good day to hold that special meeting whereby we go to the Historical Society and tour that, as well as touring other county facilities, so that the board can get an idea on just where we need to potentially improve our buildings. So provided that works for all of you, I will go ahead and have that scheduled again for the 17th.
So the 17th, we should probably plan on being here till noon, midday sometime.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure quite how long that tour will be, but yeah, I suspect it'll take up most of the morning, so.
On the 17th after the study session.
Yes.
Okay.
And we spoke about this last week, but we are now soliciting applicants for the finance officer position. And we probably received 12 or 15 at this point. So I believe that will stay open until, we've got that open until the 22nd, so there's still a little bit more time. But I will continue to update you all on our progress there. Beyond that, I don't have anything today.
All right. We don't have sheriff today. Any other department heads? Midge, would you like to have anything you'd like to report?
Well, it's National Public Health Week, and it's Walk to Work on Friday, so I hope everybody walks over here to work. I'm not going to walk to work.
Me either.
And the following week is Walk at Lunch, and we had 2 people to walk this morning. Sorry you weren't with us. And we have smoothies in the back after the meeting, so you're welcome.
I'll walk back to those.
Okay. It's a deal. Thanks.
Yeah, all right. Thanks. Nothing from Jim?
No, sir.
All right. Janet?
I just want to let you guys know that we have the county auditor on site, and he's completing our audit for the 2016 financials. So Colt was down yesterday and signed vouchers, and I'm sure got to visit with him a little bit. So if you have any concerns or any questions for him, he's hanging around. He's in the administration office. this morning, and then he'll be back down to my office, at least for the rest of the week and part of next week, so.
Didn't talk with him much. I'm always scared he's in the middle of a real complicated math problem and all.
I think he leaves most of that to Vicky.
Yeah.
He's there for questions and discussing with department heads, and so
Yeah.
she's the one that always looks like she's in the middle of complicated stuff.
All right. Commission comments, board reports.
I'll start. Monday, I went to the Williamsburg City Council meeting, and it was a typical city meeting, talked about the streets and how they were going to go about getting more rock on their streets and working on their streets. They're still looking for a city truck, talked about that, and that we'll continue to find the best deal they can for a city truck. They brought up the sidewalk around the park, again, discussions, and they're going to try to put back in for a grant to see if they can get that to happen. They're in a process of trying to partnership with Osage County to build a couple duplexes up by where their football field was. Osage County has a program where they're trying to build some of these in, I believe, Osage City, Linden, and a couple other places. And they've formed Williamsburg. They can add them in there and see if they can make it happen where they can get a couple of them also. And other than that, it was just mainly city business, and talked about their mower and things like that. And then yesterday, I was at the RCND council meeting. Colleen Lopez, she's a new coordinator for the Lake Region Solid Waste for the 6 counties. She was there and talked to us about what she was going to try to do and what was being done right now in her office. They had an update on the partnership grant, Project 17. Don talked about the RCND Advisory Board update, and then they are making another trip to Ellsworth in May to take another load of bicycles to Ellsworth and pick up a load that they have ready to bring back, and they continue to be a big project for them. They move a lot of bikes out there and bring a lot back and seem to have a lot of places to go with them. So that's what I've done since the last meeting.
Last Wednesday night, I attended the Wellsville City Council meeting. They talked about getting a burning permit for trees and brush. Also talked about taking bids on police cars. Have an 07 Crown Vic, I think they were going to try to sell it themselves, and then maybe an 09 Crown Vic also. They had quite a discussion on whether or not to keep one of the cars unmarked so they could use it for some surveillance. I don't know if that can happen in Wellsville or not, but anyway, they had quite a bit of discussion on the pros and cons of one of the cars being used as a police car that would pull people over that was unmarked. They also discussed the phones, the communication systems for their officers. They've been replacing all the water meters in Wellsville, and they're just about getting that wrapped up. And then on Monday night, I went to the Rantoul City Council meeting. A rather short meeting. I discussed their 4th of July party they would have and what activities they would have. They talked about their spring cleanup days. Also, the old City Hall building, the brick building, is being torn down now. It's been in very bad shape. Dotson's are doing that. Dotson that owns it, Robert Dotson. They talked about the mosquito spray and doing that, and I guess they said the city of Ottawa was not going to do that this year. Some complaints about that, but they've talked about spraying for mosquitoes. Also talked about the Cutler Township Fire Department lease on the building and the payments of that. Dr. Smith coming down and providing immunizations for their dogs and getting that scheduled. That would be about it for their meeting then.
I attended the Princeton City Council meeting on Monday night. Their insurance agent was there, and they were having a discussion over their different charges that had increased over the last year, and what they wanted to have for coverage, and why things had changed the way they had. They're kind of in a unique market as a small community when big insurance companies come out of places like Wichita, so they were trying to make a fit that worked for them. They also discussed that they're trying to revamp or fix up their local parks for kids to play at and improve them, and maybe have some type of a task force or committee that would come together and make recommendations to what they wanted. Also doing some repairs to those parks and swings and stuff like that. And before that, had attended the findings of the charrettes at City Hall to see the plans that have been brought by Architect One, which was interesting to see some of the designs that could happen within the Ottawa community. All it lacks is just money, and it's a big vision, and I could see some of it making a big impact on the community. So it was interesting.
Anything, Roy?
I watched the NCAA tournament finals.
Did your team win, though?
Yeah, I guess so.
Derek and I attended FCDC's meeting yesterday morning. There's an update on current prospects. We were able to view the early proposals for naming the industrial park and logos. That'll be before us all eventually. And other than that, it's mostly routine business. Do you have anything to add?
I don't.
All right. Anyone else before we close it? All right. That, I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.